I'm representing an institute which is set for looking into the interconnectivity between disciplines, between sectors, between countries, towards the best governance to sustainable development. And over the years, of 40 years, we have developed a number of directions where we believe real change should take place. And I'm going to share with you 5 of those key principles which I believe are needed, and there are very much supporting statements which already were made by previous speakers. First one, to get out of the current lock-in situation, because I believe we are facing a lock-in situation now in the steps ahead, we need new partnerships. It was said already today a couple of times, new partnerships means to get on one table with the top academia, top businesses, top governments, and top civil society. We don't do this. We are still going back to our own corners. We have heard this morning a number of funny comments about Davos, and actually I subscribe those, but we will not solve it like that. We have to have this type of meetings together across those 4 segments of the society: top academia, top business, top government, and civil society. Towards this goal, we are trying to establish a new generation of the think tank, IIASA, together with the medical players around the world. And we believe that this could be one of the fresh look into the way how to find a way ahead. Connected to that, I also believe we need to change our narratives. I have been involved in the climate discussion, IPCC and more for the last 20 years. And I witnessed these narratives of putting the climate issue, by the way, other issues like biodiversity, in terms of the threat. We are threatened by future development. But it doesn't work. I think we have to change completely the narrative from the negative one into positive one. Climate is a challenge for innovation. So is biodiversity, so is other environmental issues. So let's change the paradigm to serve better these partnerships. Let's see if we can use the change in paradigm for innovations to actually establish this partnership. The environmental challenge of sustainability, is to me an opportunity rather than threat for the societies, at this stage at least. Number 3, and this has been said many times, but I can give you some examples, cross-sectorality. The example mentioned by my distinguished colleague and friend, Kari Kela, of the Energy for All, was substantiated by a major study with 300 partners around the world, which IIASA led, so-called Global Energy Assessment. And yes, we were looking for substantiating his 3 goals: doubling the efficiency, doubling the renewable share, and energy access everywhere. But along with that, we said, let's have 3 more sectors on the same plate. Energy means climate mitigation. So all the energy mixes which we produce for SC for All were within 2-degree warming. So basically achieving the sustainable mitigation goal. Energy means, in many parts of the world, air quality. So we said, using the IIASA tools, let's have scenarios for energy and climate which do satisfy air quality standards in major megacities around the world. Number 3 sectors. And then, of course, health and people dying because of the air pollution. The story is short. If you do this in a true system, cross-sectoral way, the overall cost of the measures by 2050 is 40% less compared to the silo-only sector investment. Simple numbers. So we are moving from the notion of cross-sectorality into the numbers. Yet it is still extremely difficult, if not impossible, to have this adopted by governance of the global systems. I am very much afraid that even the biggest change we are having coming here to formulate development goals of sustainability will not have this again. And I think it's a fundamental that we think in cross-sectoral way. Number 4, I call it change in the funding, financing, and subsidy landscape. My position is there is enough money in the world to achieve all the goals we need to, if you sum it up. The problem is we are not using this money in a very wise way. There are 2 directions which I would like to suggest to discuss. First, let's focus our funding, our subsidies, more on the end of the pipe solutions rather than at the beginning of the resources. Example of the SC for All, energy, what is said. 40% of the overall goals can be achieved by efficiency. Efficiency investment means not only technology, it means also the behavior of the customers. It means also consumer psychology. It means really small-scale end-of-the-pipe solutions. Currently, only 1% of the R&D in energy goes to the end of the pipe. Water, 60% efficiency gain is possible, for example, in India, in the irrigation. Second part in the funding landscape, goes to even more important thing. I call it redirect funding subsidy into the starting capital for the innovative solutions. There is a lot of money into the research, basic research. We have a lot of technologies waiting in the waiting rooms to be adopted, prototyped, going to the markets. But there is very little, very few SMEs to take a risk to do it. My suggestion is, let's talk to our funding masters and let's make a plea for the funding of these intermediate steps, risk capital, before the technologies which are there can be upscaled. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, we should not forget that the world is interconnected. There are no single local solutions anymore which are not connected financially, governance-like, environmentally to the world. Example I'm going to give you to conclude is a study we are now starting about the shale gas revolution, which took place last 2 years. We look into the shale gas as a possible player in the energy revolution from different perspectives, but fracking and groundwater quality. We look at what it could do to the global energy situation, to the global energy stability, to the global governance. If the shale gas revolution in the United States takes place as we expect it may lead to a sharp drop of the prices. It may lead to a sharp drop of the prices, which may make the situation for the renewables very difficult. It may lead to a geopolitical situation in the Middle East after the United States interest may go down in that region. It may lead to a surprising effects like dropping of the price of gas and oil under the threshold which is needed to sustain economy of Russian Federation. Just an example of a development which is local, which is national, which is definitely, possibly a player in the global scene. So let's think in systems, let's think in cross-sectorality, and most important, let's see if we can change the narrative into the positive challenge, positive opportunity rather than threat.